Hi everyone, I hope you guys are well. Apologies straight off for my wet hair. I've just had a shower and I cannot be bothered to dry it, but I think you can forgive me. But anyway, enough about my wet hair. I'm here to talk about the book that I've been reading this week. I finished it a couple of hours ago now, and that is Sophie Kinsella's My Not So Perfect Life. Now, just to let you know, Sophie Kinsella is the only chick lit author that I really read. I've got all of her books, including from when she wrote under the pseudonym of Madeline Wickham before she became known as her real name, Sophie Kinsella. And I kind of latched onto the Shopaholic books. That's how I got introduced to her writing, and I really loved the first one. And her heroine was called Becky, same as me. So there was something about that. Just the connection, the story. I just absolutely loved it, and that expanded me out to her because the Shopaholic books are her only book series. She's done about probably about 10 now, and she's got a load of individual books, and this is one of her most recent individual books. So whenever a Sophie Kinsella book comes out, I'll buy it straight away, because I know where I stand with Sophie. I really like her writing and such, but this one was quite interesting because she even breaks her own conventions in this book, and I'll explain more what I mean that in a minute. So My Not So Perfect Life follows a girl called Katie, who is living in London, but she in London she has to go by the name Kat, and she works kind of the lowest of the low possible in this branding company, but she really wants to establish herself and make up the corporate ladder and everything, and she's got this life in London, and she loves London. She really loves living in London, but of course there's downsides to it. Her father and stepmother live in Somerset, where she was raised, and she's very much alone from she's cut off from her family. She has friends, but not many friends. They're office friends really, and she lives in this really small flat where she can't even fit a wardrobe in her room, so she has to have a hammock she keeps her clothes in. She survives off very little food. She can't afford to go out to places really, yet online and such she gives off this persona kind of on Instagram that she's got this, great life living in London and that. And it's all about other characters as well and the truth behind our social networking images of ourselves. And in the course of this book, this isn't giving anything away because it's on the back here as well, what I'm just about to say. In the course of the book, she gets fired by her horrible boss, who's called Demeter. And Demeter's got the most fabulous life. She goes out every night to parties and award ceremonies. She's constantly working. She's the best of the best. She has the best ideas. She's got the family. She's got the kids. She's got the great house. She's got everything. And after she gets fired, she moves back to Somerset moves in with her dad and stepmom, but she doesn't tell them that she's been fired. She says that she's on sabbatical. And a few months later, they've got a glamping site on their farm, and a few months later, Demeter turns up at her farm on her family holiday, and it's all about how Katie copes with that, and as I said, finding the people behind the facade that they may show themselves to be on social media, and also, generally in life as well. So that's what My Not So Perfect Life is about. I really enjoyed it. I don't read chick lit a lot, but I really like Sophie Kinsella. Her writing is really, really great, and she writes funny characters, funny scenarios, great, but she also has, looks at quite serious stuff, especially if you read her earlier books. There's quite a dark story in one of her stories. It's called something like the swimming party, and it's all about how neighbours are having like this street party at the house of one of in the neighbourhood who has a swimming pool, and then a child is injured at the swimming pool, quite seriously injured, and it's all about the aftermath of that and how it affects friendships and who's to blame and stuff like that. So she can do, you know, quite serious stuff as well as doing the light-hearted stuff. And as you read her books, when she's, especially as when she's authored and Sophie Kinsella, you can see her development of merging serious stuff in with the light stuff, and it's formed a formula that she writes by, and I have no problem with this formula whatsoever. So there were things that I was expecting to happen, and then when they didn't happen, I was like, oh, Sophie, where are you going with this? Which means I think the Not So Perfect Life all the more enjoyable, because I didn't quite know where this roller coaster was going. So, for example, in Sophie's previous books, it's very heavy laden on the main character meeting the guy and falling for them, but them not really getting together. You know, it's the development of their relationship and how that then turns into love, and then there's something grumbling on in the background which kind of collides with the two. But in this one, she has the falling for the guy and establishing a relationship very early on, and then he falls out of the picture for about half the book, and then he pops up again. And the grumbling of the crisis, which tends to be something to do with job or whatever, is again to do with job in this book. But the job situation covers every single person in their office, not just the main girl, and also the guy who she's falling for is a part of the company as well, is part of the office. So no matter what happens with the work thing, she's colliding with everybody and the key guy as well, which is what brings him back into the story. So it's not just an underlining thing that's completely separate and then just happens to collide. They are going like this. They are constantly, you know, bashing each other throughout the course of this book. And so thus I was like, I don't know where this is going. She still does some quite of her conventional stuff where she puts little indicators of things you need to look out for. So there was this moment where Demeter is in her office and Katie's in there, and she suddenly takes a phone call and scribbles a number on a bit of paper that Katie's handed over, and Katie's really angry that she scribbled all over her design, and then shoves it in her bag. And I actually thought straight away, right, that is going to be a key element. There's something to do with her putting something in her bag. And it was, but then at the same time, Sophie then pulled the rug out from under your feet by making that a red herring. And so it was really interesting. I felt more kind of on my toes a bit with reading this book, and I really liked it. I really like Katie. She's a girl with a good heart, and she wants to just be noticed, be accepted. And there's this really lovely moment near the end of the book where she meets a girl called Carly, who is just like her when she first moved to London, and so she really takes her under her wing and does the stuff for Carly that she wished someone had done for her. And invite her out for drinks or whatever. And she notices that Carly instantly looks to her homemade sandwich that she's brought with her because she can't afford to go out drinking. And so Katie says, "Oh, it's on the company, don't worry about it." You know, she really tries to help the next person along, and that's really lovely, because you know that going forward, as this girl Carly, you know, builds up her confidence and everything, then she will do the same, and it's the knock-on effect, and I really loved that about her. So I just want to read you a little bit of the book, as I do in each of my reviews, and this is near the beginning of the book. And as I said, you know, it's talking about those moments in life where something is perfect for real, and then there's the moments where something is perfect but is only on social media, the facade and everything. And this is one of the kind of perfect moments, as it were, in life, which happens at Christmas, and she's with Alex, and they're just having, Alex is the guy of the story, and they're just having a conversation, and Alex sees something. Okay, it goes, What the hell? Alex has followed my gaze and breaks into amazed laughter. What is that? We give each other a brief look and then simultaneously make for the door. Alex sweeps us up with his card, and we both hurry out into the crisp evening, gasping like kids at the sight before us. About 200 Santas on bikes are filling the streets. Some are flashing red and white lights, others are tooting horns, and from somewhere is blasting Mariah Carey. It's like a great big travelling Santa party. This is insane, says Alex, still laughing. Join in, calls a guy in a Santa hat, seeing us gawping. Collect a bike and a hat, join in, he beckons invitingly. Don't be scared, be a Santa. Alex and I stare at him and then at each other again. Come on, says Alex, and we dash across the road to where people are collecting bikes from the higher point opposite. £20 to ride, Santa hat included, a girl is shouting, waving a bucket at all the onlookers. Join in, all for Great Ormond Street Hospital. We have to do this, said Alex. Why would we not put on Santa hats and ride bikes around London? Are you free? He meets my eyes and again I feel a little flip in my stomach. Yeah, I'm free. Let's do it. I can't help laughing at the ridiculousness of it. All around us, people are joining the Santa throng and singing along to Mariah. I see a pair of Santas riding at a tandem, and one guy is pitched up on a penny farthing. This is why I moved to London, I find myself thinking with a swell of glee. This is it. I'm paying for both of us, adds Alex firmly. I haven't done enough for charity recently, and your altruism shames me. He's talking about how she wants to have the charity of the year to be this community centre. So that's what he meant. He's put a £50 note in the bucket before I can stop him and collect a bike, which he passes to me. Here's his Santa hat. The girl with the bucket holds out a hat with a light-up bobble and pops it on my head. I wheel my bike into place and look over at Alex, who's wearing a light-up hat too. Stars are flashing all around the white rim of it and making him look endearingly angelic. Thanks, I say, nodding my head at the bucket. You shouldn't have, but thanks. You're very welcome, he smiles disarmingly. I want to say something else, something witty, but there's no time because we're moving. It's ages since I've ridden a bike, but my feet find the rhythm instantly and we're off, down the road, a mass of pedalling Santas with music and laughter fueling us along our way. I couldn't help but smile when I read that. That's what Sophie does for me. I always go to Sophie and I know I can trust exactly in her what I'm going to get, and sometimes you just need it. You need those kind of stories, and so I kind of felt like I kind of needed it, right? Because it's so funny how I went from last week a really serious book about the Romanov princesses, and I was crying. It really affected me emotionally. So I needed something light and fluffy, and luckily I picked Sophie Kinsella out the jar, and this was absolutely perfect medicine that I needed. I have to say, because it broke the conventions and such, I think this is one of my higher rated Sophie Kinsella books. Not my absolute favourite, but I think it probably become, I don't know, third out of all the Sophie Kinsella books, I would say. My third favourite. I definitely read it again. I really liked Katie, and yeah, I really loved it. Sophie is really good, I have to say, before I finish this review. She's also really good at writing about families of each of her main characters, especially the parents. And I adored the stepmom Biddy and dad Mick in this book. They were absolutely fantastic, and she writes about the parents and such, especially, with such warmth, with such glow. I absolutely love that about her. They're so real, and you always feel that you can really trust them and open your heart to them. And they always share some really lovely moments with the main characters in all of her books. So yeah, I absolutely love Biddy and Mick. I think they're great. So yeah, I definitely read this again. Thanks, Sophie, for writing it. Keep on writing your books because I absolutely love them. I need the next Shopaholic book, please. please, because I absolutely love Becky. Her adventures are absolutely brilliant. And yes, that was what I thought of My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. Have any of you guys read this book? I'd love to know what you think. You can leave a comment in the comments box below. Get my words right. Or you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Entirely up to you. I'll let you decide. And I'll be back shortly to let you know what book I'm going to be reading next. Alright guys, bye.